Hello there, welcome to the holiday edition of Business Live. Here's what's coming up this hour. Management of the Accra Mall to meet tenants over alleged unfair conditions. We have more as the company promises some incentives. Also, Casa Preco optimistic of creating over 300 jobs amid COVID-19 as government's $28 million tax waiver births new factory in Tanoso in the Ashanti region. Plus, I sit with the president of the Institute of Human Resource and Management Practitioners to discuss issues related to jobs and salaries amidst COVID-19. Hello once again, I'm Charles Aite with the details of these stories. Hello once again, I'm Charles Aite with the details of the stories. Management of the Accra Mall say that it is handling concerns raised by its tenants and clients over high rent charges and other alleged unfair conditions there. Now, according to the marketing manager of the mall, Anthony Asamoah, he's assured that his outfit will soon issue a communique to address the concerns raised by the agitating clients. Mr. Asamoah spoke to Joy Business after donating relief items to some residents in the Ayawaso and Spintex areas as part of the mall's corporate social responsibility. Here is a report.
The outbreak of the coronavirus pandemic has impacted negatively on businesses that need to be revived with incentives, hence the decision to take up the initiative. The donation, which was embarked at Okonglo, Bawaleshi and Spintex, is part of the initiatives of the company to help alleviate the plight of the community from the coronavirus pandemic. Marketing manager of the Accra Mall, Anthony Asamoah, told Joy Business management of the mall is handling all concerns raised, including incentives, which will soon be made known to the public.
Well, for those doing business with us, we are still with them because times are we are not in normal times, so we are trying to also support them in the best way that we can. But basically, if you look around us, we have so many families struggling, low turnovers, low income, loss of jobs. So this is our way of supporting our catchment area. For those who do business with us, we're definitely with them and we'll definitely sort everything out with them. So management is handling that as well as we speak. Management is handling it. So I would like to really touch more on that for today. Management is handling it.
But it's likely you come out with a strategy for them.
Definitely. Management will communicate whatever it is.
He explains that more of such reliefs will be given to businesses operating in the mall to support their operations.
Well, due to the COVID-19 that hit the country very hard and the world at large, and in the 2020 year, Accra Mall sat down and came up with a strategy to help our community. And how do we help? What do we have that we can give in our small way to also, help people through the struggle? We came up with the Accra Mall's Green Survival Pack, which is basically giving essential food items and supplies to our neighboring communities. That's why we came up with the initiative. It's more of a corporate social responsibility that we have done or put together.
The initiative is a partnership between the Accra Mall Green Survival Park and Give Back Ghana.
Now, beverage firm Casa Preco is optimistic it will create over 300 jobs amid COVID-19 as government's $28 million tax waiver births new factory in Kumasi. The managing director, Richard J, says the government's $28 million tax waiver on machinery, equipment and raw materials have eased the financial burden of the company as it established a new factory at Tanoso in Kumasi under the One District, One Factory initiative. He's been speaking to Joy Business.
One District, One Factory program that the government put in place that encouraged us to put up this factory here in Tanoso. We certainly believe that without the government support, entrepreneurs and the private industry cannot grow as fast as we want to. So with the incentives, I believe that it has really helped us a lot to build this factory. We got incentives to waive our duties for the machines. Machines worth over $10 million. We got a lot of duties as well for the raw materials. Total duties waiver and taxes that we got was about $28 million for 5 years. And we believe that this certainly would help the factory break even faster. And once we break even, we are certainly going to expand and more. Some of the other incentives that we are still working on with the government, and we believe that it will come to fruition. It's some of the the 1D1 district is also promising to pay part of the interest from the loans that we've used for this factory. So we got a loan of about $25 million from Stanbic. And part of the interest, the government is also willing to support, pay the interest. And all these are certainly good for not only the company, but also for consumers. Certainly makes the product much more cheaper for the consumers to buy. For this factory here in Tano, so we are looking at employing direct employment, about 300 people from engineering, chemistry, salespeople, warehousing, drivers, but as well along the supply chain, the indirect employment is going to be about 3,000 employees. We are looking at our distributors, even the hawkers selling our products, our suppliers that we work with. So we are going to have close to 50 distributors in Ashanti region alone. Northern region are also going to have more. And you know, they are all going to employ people to sell the product, give the product legs. So it certainly gives a wide range of distribution. We also look forward to working with tech. We also look forward to working with tech to bring in engineers or students here to also learn from the factory over here.
You're still watching Business Live with me, Charles Aite. Now, the Chief Executive of the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, who is also President of the Institute of Human Resource Management Professionals, Dr. Edward Kwapon, says any increment in the minimum wage will spell doom for Ghana's economic recovery. Now, there are concerns that the current minimum wage of 11 cedis is outrageously low. But speaking to Joy Business, Dr. Edward Kwapon revealed that any upward review will be subject to Ghana's recovery from COVID-19. Here is an exclusive interview he granted us.
With this legal recognition and mandate, our certificates will be more respected and more credible in the eyes of management of various institutions. And as you may know, or you might have read from the bill, the Institute's Governing Council will now comprise representatives of employers. Ghana Employers Association will be there. The universities, the vice chancellors, the NCT will have to nominate a representative, a vice chancellor to be on our council, and then I think we will have a relationship with National Accreditation Board as well. So these are, provisions that will make us more credible and more acceptable. And despite that, I think we also have to play an advocacy role, going out there to tell and what it contains and what it will make of practitioners in Ghana. Because we will be required to train, we will be required to monitor, we will be required to ensure compliance with our standards and our code of ethics. So yes, it has come in good time to help us provide more support to industry as far as human resource management is concerned.
Great. Help us understand how many HR practitioners are registered under your wing. How many HR practitioners are registered?
As we speak, we have about 1,840 HR practitioners registered with us. Now, following the passage of the bill, there have been an influx of persons, practitioners who want to join us. So I believe the numbers will go up very soon.
Are we going to see a future where you'd have to obtain a license before you could practice as an HR?
Absolutely. One of the provisions of the Act 1020, is that we will register all HR practitioners, and once you are registered in our register, then we will issue with a license to enable you practice.
And when is that going to happen?
Very soon. When a law is passed, you need an LI that will operationalize the law, and we have a time frame of about 6 months to 1 year to do that. And when that goes through Parliament, then we'll be able to do that. So give and take, in a year's time, we should be doing the needful.
2021, hopefully.
Absolutely.
All right, Dr. Kwapon, you're also the Chief Executive of the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. each and every year we have concerns about salaries and wages. It begs the question, how fair are salaries and wages in Ghana today?
The word fair is a difficult one to define.
I'm trying to.
But as far as
fair wages,
you are underscoring the fair. I appreciate that. In salary administration, or compensation management, we are always talking about fairness. Fairness from the point of view of the value of the job and the corresponding remuneration. And so we use job evaluation as a tool or an instrument to weigh all jobs. We put all the jobs on a common weighing scale. And then when we have determined the weight, as it were, then we apply the corresponding salary. So fairness in terms of all jobs in the public service having been subjected to job evaluation. So in that respect, we have been fair. And we have classified the public service into about 9 service classifications. So in that respect, we are fair. But I know where we are coming from. The fairness in terms of levels of salary is generally it's been agreed that levels are low in this country, and we all worry about that. But then how do we increase salary levels? As I speak, the latest figures that I know indicate that 65% of domestic revenue goes into compensation of public servants. And public servants are around the figure of 600, and they are taking 65%. So nothing for goods and services, or sorry, not nothing, but the remainder for goods and services and capex, that is capital expenditure. So it makes it a tricky one. If you continue to increase salary levels, we will not have anything at all for other developmental issues in this country. And so we are careful, we advise government. Our role is to advise government, but we are careful not to push the figures or suggest figures that are very high. Okay. For instance, when we are determining the national daily minimum wage, the tripartite arrangement holds, and therefore employers are there, the government, who is the biggest employer, is also there, and organized labor is also there. But at times when we are trying to raise the bar, then employers association will say that let us be careful. Otherwise, you crowd out some companies, because beyond a certain level, they will not be able to survive. They will go under. And we are all interested in creating jobs. So if you make a move that will cause companies to collapse or go under, then people are going to lose jobs. And when people don't have jobs, then the devil will find
but there seems to be some imbalance when it comes to this argument, because each and every year economists will say we are not matching the salaries to the outputs of most of these workers. We keep thinking about salary increments, but we do not really have a hold on the productivity of most workers, especially within the public sector.
I was coming to productivity. We don't have a nationwide productivity measurement system. We try to do that through performance management, performance appraisal, yes. But then we don't link the appraisal results to reward, So everybody is like a socialist system. Everybody gets the normal increment. So as we speak, we have initiated the process of piloting performance management in about 50 institutions. And at the end of the day, we'll pick the results, analyze the results, and reward based on your performance. So the high flyers will be recognized. And let me be quick to say this. The model that we are looking at the end of the year, if government decides to set aside so much, say 10% of GDP or whatever, for, reward in terms of annual increment and bonus and things like that, 5% of that amount will go to everybody. The remaining 5% will be distributed based on your performance. So an employee in the same company may get the remaining 5%, the whole of it. Another person will get 3% of that, another person will get 1%, and another person will get nothing at all. That way, we would create the awareness for people to be productive. Currently, there is no motivation for anybody to be extremely productive, bend over backwards to work to meet the targets of the institution, because we are paid the same, we are rewarded the same. So there's no motivation for the hardworking ones to continue to, kill themselves for the company. So if you introduce such a system, which works in the private sector, eventually it will also have some impact on the public sector, and we'll take it from there.
Let's delve into the minimum wage, which currently stands a little over above 11 Ghana cedis. Of course, people have argued that this is just so poor, despite the fact that we're a little bit higher when it comes to the UN ranking. But what's your commission doing to improve Ghana's minimum wage? Are you looking at an upward review?
I thought I intimated
COVID-19 effects on the economy.
And the fact that the revenues are not coming, and already we are spending 65% of that on compensation. So yes, we will work together with our social partners to revise the figures upwards, subject to productivity.
COVID-19 has seen us have so many, stories of bad treatment of workers in terms of layoffs, in terms of, slashes in salaries and whatnot. How endemic has this situation been when it comes to the matters on your table?
Well, we know that some companies have closed down. They have declared redundancies. They have reduced salaries. But in the public service, government has been so gracious that we still pay. Nobody has suffered any salary cut as far as we are concerned. Of course, line managers will try to control cost in terms of the activity-driven costs. But yes, we are aware of this, but we are guided by a principle, the golden principle, that we shouldn't make workers worse off. So we will not make them worse off. We will try to stay afloat and pay what we are supposed to pay. Even though government is suffering, bleeding from that, I think governments have a duty to provide jobs and to keep those who have jobs in their jobs. So yes, it is endemic. It is having a toll on government, but we will not, I think, lowball or whatever we are paying now. Going up might be difficult though, and I think through the social partnership, we should be able to explain ourselves to our stakeholders.
But the private sector is struggling.
It is indeed.
When it comes to HR management as well and employment issues there, most workers within the private sector say they don't feel they have the right to voice their concerns out. Most of the companies do not give them the capacity to have unions within themselves. I mean, how much of a concern is this for you, especially when you are the head of the Fair Wages Salaries Commission and also the entire chairman of, the entire IRH, the Institute of Human Resource, How much of a concern is it to you, especially from the private sector's point of view?
Yes, HR facilities must be standardized and harmonized, and so the rules must apply regardless. However, we have institutions where HR practitioners are not drawing attention of management to some of these infractions.
So they are infractions?
I'm aware. I mean, asking people to stay at home without pay, what is it? Is it the redundancy? Is it the layoff? Is it termination? And whatever it is, there's a procedure to follow to sever the relationship between the employer and the employee. They are not doing that, and the HR practitioners are quiet. That's a big source of concern to me and to the institute. Because how can you just ask a worker to go home? Of course, at law, we have what we call the force majeure, the act of God that will prevent parties to fulfill the terms of the contract. And under such circumstances, perhaps somebody may get away with it. But in Ghana, if you want to terminate, regardless, let us sit down and agree on the basis of the pattern of the relationship. But we don't just, and HR practitioners are condoning, and that is my worry. Okay, they should draw. So managements are not aware, especially the small company, the micro businesses. The managements may not be aware because it might have been a one-man business that has transformed into SME.
Yeah.
And so he may not be aware. And so it's the responsibility of the HR practitioner to draw attention to the need to follow. And our Labor Act, the Act 651, is so elaborate in provisions on termination or the severance of the relationship. So yes, so we are going to play a strong advocacy role in educating our own members and educating senior management teams when it comes to such matters, even within these COVID times.
And just gone by was an interaction with the president of the Institute of Human Resource Management Practitioners, Dr. Edward Kwapo, who also doubles as the Chief Executive Officer of the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. Well, in our holiday edition of Business Live, we take a closer look at the tourism potential in the Volta region, where activities are gradually bouncing back after the negative impact of COVID-19. My colleague Fred Duho has visited the Tafi Atome Monkey Sanctuary, the Vili Waterfalls, and a couple of other places, and has filed this report.
Playing for about 40 minutes, we made our first stop at the Adaklu Mountain. Sesi Moses has lived in this community for over 50 years. He tells me people come to hike on the mountain for fun, but pay nothing.
I'm over now. Papa Henuzio ole tiango eba amoyi na va pona dake me charge na khona e gadeke laosio.
After catching the beautiful sights and landscape, we went through Ho to Tafi Atome.
We have been welcomed by one of the monkeys here at the Tafi Atome Monkey Sanctuary.
The manager of the Monkey Sanctuary, Francis Akwe, was of the firm belief that Volta region stands to gain from tourism than any other natural resources.
Volta region has gotten, the best, the best natural attractions, potentials that we can turn into tourism. Yes, tourism is benefiting. Volta region benefits a lot from tourism because most of the tourists that visit Ghana, they like to visit Volta region. We should target cleanliness, and when we target cleanliness, after targeting cleanliness, then they look at the potentials in each area so that they will gather them together and then start to sell the place out.
The Volta Regional Director of the Ghana Tourism Authority, Alexander Inketia, who superintends over the industry, was optimistic as restrictions ease.
We are trying to enhance the capacity of the various tourist sites and also of the industry as a whole, because you can say the industry is growing.
After touring almost 3 places earlier in the day, we are finally at the Vili Waterfalls. Surprisingly, a number of cars are parked here. Looks like business activity is bouncing back after the impact of COVID-19. Some cars I can see boldly written on them KNUST, indicating that they are coming from Kumasi.
The managers of the Vili Waterfalls say their numbers are gradually picking up. Emmanuel Kojo Blokpo is the senior tour guide.
We tell them that this is the highest waterfall in West Africa, and there are a lot of things to see. Even going there alone, you cross over 9 bridges to get there. Then when you get to the top, we have a lot of fruit-eating bats, or straw-colored bats. So, very interesting. And when it's 3 o'clock, as the sun goes down, you see the rainbow also coming up. And people, some of them get scared, but we call the attention that it is only nature.
I finally made it to the Vili Waterfalls. This is a very beautiful sight to behold.
We have come to Keta, the Fort Princeton. We understand it's among the 4 major forts built by the Danish. Now, this is the dungeon of no return. We understand this particular room is for the hardened slaves, the tough ones.
Was among the 4 major Danish structures in the eastern section of Ghana. Where we are now, this is one of the rooms, the dungeon, where they kept the hardened slaves at that time. And these are, as you can see, these are some of the chains where the slaves were chained to. Wow. Used to chain the neck and the leg of the slaves.
And that's Fred Duhul's reports. They're opening up the tourism potential in the Volta region for us to see. Well, that's how we end this edition of Business Live with me, Charles Aite. For me and the rest of the team, many thanks for watching and enjoy the rest of your holiday.